When this ruling came down yesterday after the show, many people have called it unprecedented. The ruling from Judge David Lee Vincent reinstates Mayor Adam Paul, set aside a city council's vote to put him back into office. To talk about it is his attorney, Chet Pleban, and the ex-mayor of Ellisville, now the mayor of Ellisville, Adam Paul. Adam, we'll start with you. Where were you when you found out the news yesterday?
I was actually at a doctor's office. I threw my back out. And
cheering?
No, I threw my back out carrying a desk up the basement steps. And I was quoted in the paper today as it was a sign from God that I'd be coming back. So, but I'm feeling better today. And I'm just elated and so excited to get back and crack the gavel. It's kind of like getting picked last in a kickball event when you're a young kid, but at least I got picked. We've had so many no's in the last 4 months that I started getting depressed and getting complacent. And but no one can deny the fundamental importance of having a good legal counsel. And I appreciate everything that Chet and Lynette have done for me. So it's been a wild ride, and at least for the temporary time being, I'm back in the mayor's seat. So it's been a wild ride for me.
Chet Pleban, what did?
Wait, what was that last statement that he made? I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. My earpiece is turned off here.
I was trying to gloss over that.
Yeah, I know you were. That's why I wanted to come back.
What did Judge David Lee Vincent rule? What did he say?
What he did was he stayed. The legal term is he stayed the proceedings, which means put him on the back burner, went back to the status quo of prior to the resolution. So he held in abeyance their decision to remove Adam Paul while he reviews these transcripts. We had 3.5 days worth of trial, basically. So he's going to have to review all that. We can't put on new evidence in this sort of proceeding, but he'll review what that old counsel did and the propriety of what they did to determine things like whether or not there's substantial and competent evidence on the record to support what they did, or whether or not their decision was arbitrary and capricious. And so what we said to him was, look, we know that this isn't your only case. We know that it's going to take some time to go through this whole process, several months probably to do it. And he is the type of judge who reads every single word that you put in front of him. And so we said, we filed the motion for stay. I've never, in the more than probably 1,000 cases I've done, administrative law cases, I've never filed a motion for stay before. It's the first time. And the reason that we did it was because this is kind of like throwing a dart at a dartboard. You're going to hit a number. And so we said to him, look, there is so much error in this case that and their misconduct is so great and their rush to judgment was so bad that you will reward that misconduct if you don't replace him to serve as the city's mayor.
He can, after he reviews this and everything, he can come back and say, you know what, I've reviewed it, the council acted accordingly, and I'm going to put in place back the council's decision, correct?
Absolutely.
So he can do that.
Absolutely. The whole spectrum is available to him. He can affirm this decision that he rendered yesterday,
right?
Or he can reverse it.
So in the meantime, Adam Paul is now the full-fledged acting mayor of Ellisville.
Full duties, full responsibilities.
Adam Paul, now as the mayor of Ellisville, you're going to have to conduct the meetings. You're going to have to work with the other city council who have thrown you out of office. How is that going to work?
Well, there's only 2 council members still left on the board that voted to impeach me. So there's three new individuals that were elected, and 2 are big supporters of mine. So it's going to be nice coming back to a level-headed council that's fair and unbiased. Because you got to understand, for the last year, it's been an uphill battle. I mean, people wouldn't even second a motion of mine. So I didn't have one advocate on the council, but now it's the tide has turned, and fortunately, we've got some really good, fresh new faces on the council, and look forward to working with them and actually getting some good things done for the city.
Hold that thought, because a lot of people think this was all as part of that TIF development right there on the corner of Clarkson and Manchester. I want to come back and ask you about that. That's the new, current, returned ex-mayor of Ellisville, Adam Paul, who was back mayor of Ellisville, and his attorney, Chet Pleban. Traffic, weather, sports, and more with them in a moment. We should say that Matt Perillo, the person who led the charge for the impeachment, will join us here in studio in about 1 hour from now. 7:42 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Adam Paul, the mayor of Ellisville, was reinstated yesterday by Judge David Lee Vincent, is here in studio along with Chet Pleban, his attorney. Adam Paul, Matt Perillo led the charge for your ouster. He sits on the city council. Have you had any conversation with him since this ruling?
No, I have not.
How are you going to be able to work with him going forward?
It's going to be tough, but I'll be able to comport myself with professionalism. Working with anybody, obviously there's going to be the underlying issues of the impeachment and improprieties that Matt Perillo and the city attorney conspired to remove me from office. It's going to be difficult, but the council makes decisions as a whole, and I can't make unilateral decisions myself. But it's nice to be on the majority side of the fence.
Are you going to do anything because you were elected on the anti-TIF platform? Are you going to do anything to try and undo that TIF for that Walmart on that corner?
Well, my campaign promise was no Walmart, no TIF, and I believe if Sandstone doesn't purchase the properties in July, he'll have to renegotiate with the apartment complex owners. So that's one out potentially, and the other one would be in September. Their conditional use permit expires in 1 year, so that could come back before the council. So I wouldn't say it's a done deal yet. It's still tied up in courts. I believe it's in the appellate courts, and absolutely. I mean, that's the platform I ran under, and I will continue to fight the good fight there. I can assure the Ellisville residents who put me in office, an overwhelming majority of people who put me in office are opposed to that project. Matt Perillo constantly says it's the vocal minority, but I think that's the antithesis. I believe it's the vocal majority. The people, that's why I'm here. I ran a hot bucket item. So,
and you're going to have Matt Perillo on, and I understand that, and I understand he led the charge, but Matt Perillo is not necessarily the voice of the current council. Matt Perillo at one time ran that council, the old council. That's how he was able to run Adam out of office. But the current council, we gave them the opportunity to reinstate Adam. It was a 3-3 vote. One of the new council members, Cindy Poole, voted against returning Adam to office without the necessity of going to court. Well, she's going to get another opportunity here. She's going to get another opportunity to see the light and right the wrong, and thereby save the city. And they've spent $100,000 so far, and we're just beginning this process. And these are taxpayer dollars. That I got to believe there's a lot of other better ways to spend that money. Now Perillo, he's going to stand and fight to the bitter end. I heard him say last night, let the courts decide. All right. So are you going to spend another $100,000 to get the result that you got now? So, I mean, and if I were a betting person, I'd go to Vegas and I'd bet on Adam Paul and the final outcome.
You have said on the show that there's civil suits that are coming. Are the civil suits still planned, even with this new action?
Oh, they're still pending.
They're still pending.
They're more than planned. They're on file. They're on file.
Adam Paul, one of the reasons you were impeached was there was a resident in that apartment complex who wanted to know that was he going to get relocation costs, and it was said that you improperly confronted him or discussed with him that answer.
Right. Well, as actually an apartment complex owner, they had tenants that moved in after January 1st, 2012, and based on the relocation agreement, it was tenants that moved in after January 1st, 2012 weren't going to get relocation benefits. So the owner went to the city. And
the owner of the complex.
The owner of the complex in one of the buildings went to the city. They said, well, talk to your representative about it. So she contacted me and said, can you find out if Walmart is going to pay or Sandstone going to pay relocation to the people after January 1st? Made a 2-minute phone call to a relocation specialist that was hired by Sandstone. So it wasn't even Sandstone. And said, hey, I've got a constituent or apartment owner's got a concern about whether or not their 5 or 6 tenants that moved in were going to get compensated. She said that they would make amends to that request, and that was the end of the conversation. The funny thing is they said that since I talked to a third-party agent of Sandstone, that's a big no-no. Well, the fact of the matter is there was nothing even on file with Sansone at the time. They already agreed to the relocation agreement, and there wasn't a conditional use permit pending. So that's I don't know why I got kicked out of office. I still if people ask me that today, and I can't give you an honest answer.
But he's got his T-shirt on. His Mayor Paul T-shirt on.
For those watching on TV, Adam Paul for mayor, mayor of Ellisville. There you go. Is that a new one or is that from the old campaign?
Okay, I got a whole box.
I don't think it's been washed either. I'm sitting next to him here.
But my question is, if this person wasn't. If you weren't allowed to answer that question, who was allowed to answer that question? That's not that question needs to be answered. Sure. I mean, so where does that constituent go to get that question answered?
Yeah, well, I mean, you just tack that on with the other frivolous charges that they threw at me. Most were dropped. I mean, we've talked about this before.
Yeah, and we said yesterday, and I'll say again today, that yesterday was a great day for Adam Paul, but perhaps more importantly, it was a great day for government, because if you can remove a politician for the reasons that they claim that they removed him, asking a question on behalf of a constituent, asking for a badge, do I get a badge, seeking to reduce the legal fees and remove the city attorney. If you can remove people for those reasons, any politician in this state then is vulnerable.
I will tell you, Adam Paul, badges. You don't need no stinking badges. you don't need no stinking badges. Now, one thing I would request: can you continue to pay KC Communications to listen to this show? Because I need all the help I can get.
I think some of those matters are going to be addressed right away. I don't want to say winter is coming in Ellisville, but I say it's going to be a shortfall.
It's costing the city money right now because I'm sure they're listening.
Hey, there's no. I'll pay people to listen. I'm not. I don't have that much pride.
I also want to know, why is it that you don't have any shoelaces in those shoes? Did you just get out or something? I mean, they take them. When they book you in.
It's called hip. Look into it. It's called GQ Magazine This Century. Ladies and gentlemen, Chet Pleban, attorney for the ex-mayor of Ellisville, Adam Paul, who has been reinstated at least for as long as David Lee Vincent is reviewing everything else, but reinstated mayor of Ellisville, Adam Paul and Chet Pleban. Guys, thanks for coming in.
You bet.
Thanks, McGraw.